Hello everyone, we're back again. Working on the Beamer. Yeah, what are we going to do today? Well, I'm going to do a bit of a kind of a cosmetic improvement. I hope it's going to be an improvement. Anyway, I'm going to change the rear number plate holder just because it's a bit big. It kind of pokes out quite far, doesn't it? And aesthetically, it just kind of, it's not very pleasing to the eye. So I'm going to take it off. I've got a replacement. At the moment I haven't got replacement indicators, so I'm going to use the standard ones, but I do want to replace those as well at some point. Right, what have we got here? We've got a number plate holder. I've gone budget, a little bit budget with the number plate holder. I would have liked to have used R&G's number plate holder, but it wasn't exactly cheap. And I've been spending so much on the bike that I need to start being a bit sensible. So I've gone with a bit of a budget kind of option. Now, I'll be honest with you, this is actually very well made. It comes from a company called T&J Automotive. I bought that off of eBay. I'll put the link up in the description of this video. But I like it. It's yeah, very well made. Looks like it's not going to rust away. Also came fitted with a little number plate light, which I thought was quite handy. Solves one problem. In the kit also came a little reflector, which you have to have fitted for a legal requirement. It also came with some nice rip ties and some electrical connectors. I'm not a big fan of these crimping electrical connectors because they can corrode a bit, you know. So I will end up using a bit of solder with my trusted soldering iron. It's a bit worn out actually, but it still works. So what are you going to need to do the job? You're going to need either use a crimping tool for redoing the wiring, or use some solder and a soldering iron. You're going to need a drill. This one's a bit over the top actually. This is one my dad gave me. Thanks, Dad. It's a brilliant drill. And you're going to need a drill bit. I'm using a 6mm drill bit, and some more rip ties to take care of the excess wiring. So what have we done so far? Oh, also the new number plate. Now, number plate requirement. This is kind of like, this is actually bigger than the legal size number plate. I think is it something like 9 by 6? You'll correct me, I'm sure, but the legal requirement, this is slightly bigger. This is something like 10 by 7, this one. I've got a tape measure here. Right, here's a tape measure. This one is nearly 9.5 by 6.5. And I think the legal requirement is something like 9 by 6, so it's slightly smaller, the actual legal requirement. And I've gone with an 8 by 6. So this is a smaller plate. It also fits just over the fittings of the plate holder, so you can't see any of the plate holder when the plate's on. It's also going to look a bit more pleasing aesthetically, size wise, I think, on the bottom of the bike, but we'll have a look at that when it's fitted. So yeah, that's the plate holder. Good value. I think that was about £25, 26, something like that. What have I done so far? I've speeded the process up a bit, and I've taken out the 3 plastic screws which hold the number plate in place off the number plate holder, the original holder. I've also taken out the 2 retaining screws and nuts which hold the the indicators in place. I've taken out 2 of the 3 retaining screws which hold the whole number plate bracket here in place, and I've also taken out the 6 screws which hold on the bottom of the plastics here, because we're going to need to get to that to access the wiring. We're also going to need some better access in here just to get to the wiring. So something I would do is use a Phillips and just move this alarm out of the way. So this just basically frees up a bit of room so we can get to the wiring a bit easier. Now we want to take off this this dirty great big thing here. So we've taken out all the screws, as I said. Let's take this one last retaining screw out here, which then enables me to pull out the number plate bracket. Be careful with this, guys. It's nice and steady. Alright, so that is kind of loose. Now, the reason why you need to loosen off and drop down the lower plastics is that you've got these three little kind of threads here, which the number plate holder here goes up onto, and you screw it up into. Now, the number plate holder I've got only fixes in these 2 points, so it leaves this one point here not in use, and you just end up with that thing rattling around. Right, so what we're going to do now is just unclip this lower fairing, and it unclips quite easily off the upper fairing, and this allows us to take out that one securing point for the number plate holder. Yeah, okay, so I've just cut all of these rip ties holding this wiring in place, and the next thing we want to do is to remove that wire from the loom. Now this is done via this connector, which sits on here. It's a bit awkward to get off. You've got to push the bottom of this connector, and it kind of unclips off the bottom of that wire connector off the white one, and then you've got to pull the white one. Let me show you. Then you unclip the actual white one off of this plastic in here. That unclips, and then you can thread that through the little hole. And now we're going to need to remove the lower fairing again to do that without damaging anything. Yeah, so there it is, out. So that is that lot off. Let's clip this back up again. Right, so now we've got this lot off. Now I need to try and suss out how I'm going to get all this wiring off of this without it doesn't even fit through that hole. Oh dear. Right, now what I have done, I kind of decided I'll take things apart and have a look and see how things work here. I've taken this indicator apart, quite easy to do. Just unscrew the lens comes off easy enough. Take out the indicator bulb. Notice that this is just a standard bulb, it's not LED or anything like that. You've got the reflector here, and on the back of the reflector you got two connectors. You've got brown to the right and blue to the left, so we can pull those off. And what is worthwhile doing at this point is just getting your phone and take a picture. Alright, so take a nice picture, and so you remember, yeah, what goes which side. Right, so let's pull these connectors off, and hopefully I can do this without really having to cut into the wire. That would be nice. Right, we need to just pull the wire through and straighten these connectors out a bit. Yeah, hey presto. So that is one wire out. So I'm going to put a bit of tape just on this one to remind me that this is the right hand side. Yeah, I probably should have done that after I pulled it out, really. Brains of Britain is grizz. Right, so that solves one problem. Now we need to do the same on the other side. Right, so I've progressed on a bit. Right side out, left side out on the indicators. I've taken off also the number plate light. You just undo these two nuts here which hold it on the back of the number plate holder, and then take out the two screws, and then you can pull it apart, and then you can push out the light from the holder, yeah, like so. So the light bulb here is pushed out from the holder, then we can push the light bulb through, and then we have the loom free, which is pretty good, pretty cool. I was thinking I may have to cut into the plastic, but no. So let's see how much of this now we can use without doing any cutting. So that is the original number plate holder off. So that versus this is a bit different, isn't it? Yeah. New one. Now we need to get the new one with this old loom back in place now. Now we're going to need to use these wires to connect up to those wires. So I will have to cut this wiring bulb off really. So that is the old one removed. Right, so we got the wires off, and now one last thing we need to take off this. I've just put the number plate light back on so I don't lose that. And we do want these rubber locating rubbers to go on the two locating holes for the new number plate. Right, so that's both of those rubbers removed. Right, old one, that can go in the bin. We need to put these two rubbers up on these two locating pins, and it'll stop it all from vibrating around. So just put those in place, and yeah, that's kind of ready. So I've taken the wire here, I've cut off that little number plate light and wire, should I say, and I've cut off the insulation, and now you can see the bare wire, yeah. So now we need to wire this onto this wiring for the number plate light. We need to solder it in place, sorry. Right, so things have progressed on a bit again. I've basically wired up the rear number plate light here. I tested the wires to see which was the correct one, which wire goes where. And you've got two black wires on the number plate wire here, and the one with the white flash going through it, or white line going through it, connects up to the brown wire. Can you see this even? So you got the brown going to the wire with a bit of white on it, and just the plain black wire goes to the green wire, and I've soldered those together. So now I can just chuck some electrical tape on them to protect that and stop anything from shorting out. Right guys, as you can see, I've thundered through this a bit. So what have we done? I've kind of put all the wiring through back into the indicators, checked that they're in the correct working on the correct side, so I know that's all set up correctly, and put the indicators back on. It's ready to go, guys. The number plate is on. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. If you can do this, you can suss out doing the number plate, getting that in the right position. But that is ready to go on the bike now. Right, so I've pushed the wire up and put it on the connector, and these rubbers that I put up on these connectors, you need to put those in the bracket, otherwise it doesn't it sits down too far. So yeah, let's just get it connected up. Right, that's it, it's in place, covered up as well, but indicators are on a good angle. All fits up well. The only problem I did have was getting these rubber kind of covers to go back over. or sit back up onto the points where you screw it back on again. So, but it took a bit of wiggling and pushing, but it's all back in place now. The plastics are back in place. It's nice and firm there. It's in those two rubbers there, so there's a little bit of movement, so it kind of absorb any shock from the road from bouncing and whatnot. But it's much better, I think. I've managed to get all the wiring back in here in place, and yeah, that's all sorted. So job's a good one. Let's put the seat back on. Right, let's give it a little test. Make sure everything works as it should. We got the lights here working. Let's check the indicators. Well, actually, we can put the hazard warning light on, can't we? Look, there you go. So that's all working. Yeah. Right, guys, that's enough for today. Thanks for watching. Number plate on, rear sets on. Just got to take it for a ride now and see what these rear sets are like. Thanks for watching, everyone. Ride safe all. Cheers. Bye.